They gave them a lot of taxpayer money, supposedly to repair the neighborhood and offer job training programs to the young men of Lawndale. By 1970, all funding was shut off due to the fact that the government found out the money was being misappropriated, and they realized they were being bullshitted by a bunch of street gangsters from the West Side. Because the government wouldn't give them any more money, the gang decided to go back to destroying the community. Over the next 5 decades, the vice lords would keep their boot on the neck of the North Lawndale community. And as the years went on, more abandoned buildings and homes became a common sight in this neighborhood. Crime got worse and worse because of gangs like the Vice Lords, the New Breeds, the Black Souls, the Gangster Disciples, and the Four Corner Hustlers. These gangs remained in a constant state of war. Over the past couple of decades, the leadership of gangs like the Vice Lords have been constant targets of local and federal authorities. Because of these indictments and arrests, the once very powerful mega gang has been basically left leaderless and splintered into 26 different sets that in some cases are now waging war on each other. Chaos, uncertainty, and random violence is now, unfortunately, the neighborhood and the gang's new reality. There is not much good that can be said about this blighted neighborhood. It is, in fact, one of Chicago's worst and has been for a long time. This is the second most rundown community in Chicago, except for the Inglewood neighborhood. There are large swaths of vacant property where businesses and homes once stood. And there are hundreds of abandoned, boarded-up properties scattered throughout this war-torn neighborhood. There are some new buildings tucked in amongst the decay. It looks as though an effort is being made to change the present trajectory of this neighborhood. Unfortunately, it looks to me like an unattainable vision. For decades, the city of Chicago slowly let this neighborhood slide into the abyss. It was done for a whole host of reasons, but it now seems to be at the point of no return. The racial makeup of this community is 89% black, 7% Hispanic, and 2% white. The population was at its height in 1960 at around 125,000 residents. By 2015, the population was at 35,000 due to crime and gang violence in this neighborhood. It lost over 90,000 residents over a 65-year period. Each of the most violent neighborhoods in Chicago have their share of high-profile shootings and killings. These are just a few. In June of 2017, 9 people were shot on the corner of Christiana and Douglas. The group of people shot ranged in age from 17 to 35. They were all standing on the corner listening to music and drinking of high-profile shootings and killings. These are just a few. In June of 2017, 9 people were shot on the corner of Christiana and Douglas. The group of people shot ranged in age from 17 to 35. They were all standing on the corner listening to music and drinking when a vehicle sped up to the group and multiple men started shooting from within the car. There were about 50 people on that street corner that day, and from the amount of shell casings on the ground, it is amazing more people were not shot or killed. 7 out of the 9 that were shot were documented gang members. This was a full-blown, gang-retaliated shooting. All survived this attack, and no suspects are in custody. This shooting is the second most violent of the year. In early May, 2 people were killed and 8 were wounded in a single shooting in Brighton Park. A 23-year-old man that wasn't hit by bullets said, "This is just the city we live in and the world we live in." An all too common occurrence in North Lawndale is the shooting of teen boys. In June of 2017, Corey Hill, age 16, and Jacquez Mack, age 15, were standing on the sidewalk in the 1200 block of South Lawndale when a masked killer armed with a rifle got out of a silver car and fired multiple shots at the two boys. Witnesses said the gunman stood over the victims with a semi-automatic long rifle and continued to fire at point-blank range as they lay dying on the sidewalk. The shooter then got back into the same car and drove away. Both boys were pronounced dead on the scene. No one was arrested in connection with this shooting. According to family members, neither of the teenagers lived in the neighborhood. They were just visiting. One woman on the scene said, "Every day, every other week, somebody's getting killed. It's crazy. Our kids can't even come out to play." This is a case where visiting a family member can cost you your life if neighborhood gang members run across you and peg you as someone that isn't from the hood. This can get you shot or even killed in crime-ravaged North Lawndale. In February of 2017, on Valentine's Day, 2 adults and a 2-year-old boy were driving through an alley at 23rd and Kenneth listening to music when 4 men in a blue Chevrolet Spark pulled up alongside, blocking them in behind an AC Delco auto electronics shop. A gunman got out and opened fire. 2-year-old Levante White was shot in the head, and his uncle, 26-year-old Lazarick Collins, was also shot in the head. And a 20-year-old woman identified as Levante's aunt, who was 4 months pregnant, was shot in the stomach. Little Levante was pulled from the car by paramedics and worked on. He was revived for a short time and was then put on life support at Stroger Hospital, but then later died. The uncle was also shot in the head and multiple times in the body and was pronounced dead on the scene. The 20-year-old aunt was streaming live on Facebook when the shooting took place, and it was all captured